Welcome to Ask the Professor. I'm your host, Ron Tulley, Dean for the College of Arts, Humanities, and Social Sciences here at the University of Findlay. Ask the Professor is the show where we get to know our UF professors a bit better, learn about their vocational passions, what they love to teach, what their ongoing research, service, and scholarship projects are. And hopefully when we're done, we have a better understanding of their discipline, their typical workday, and most importantly, who they are. Today, I'm honored to welcome my College of Arts, Humanities, and Social Sciences colleague and good friend, Dr. Wang. Fang, hi.
Hi, Dr. Tulley. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. Fang is in her third year as an assistant professor of communication here at the University of Findlay. She's scheduled to take over as director of Master of Arts in Professional Communication next year. She teaches public speech and communication in different contexts, including interpersonal, intercultural, organizational, and in small groups, as well as conflict management and media studies. Her research interests lie in health communication and media studies, and her current research topic is the communication of obesity prevention behavior. She notes that obesity has been viewed as a global public health issue, and she's particularly interested in how media and information communication technologies influence individuals' perception and lifestyle behaviors, as well as what these modalities can do to assist individuals' health behavior changes. Fang has been teaching for 21 years at the university level. Originally from China, she now resides here in Findlay with her son and her two cats. So welcome, Fang.
Thank you. Yeah.
So, I think the thing that piques my interest most, and I imagine students would be interested in this too, is China to Northwest Ohio. Tell us about that journey. How did you get here?
Oh, it's a long journey. I did not plan this way. It just happened to my life. I was a lecturer in one of the comprehensive universities in China. It's called Guangxi University. It's very close to Hong Kong, the same cultural area. But 1 year I applied for a visiting scholar. It was an exchange program. Exchange between one of the university in Kentucky. It's called Morehead State and the Guangxi University. So Morehead State University invited us to teach Chinese to their university. So I applied and I got it. So I became a visiting professor at Morehead State University. That was back years ago.
Do you remember what year that was?
Yes, I do. It was 2008. Yeah, that was my 7th year of teaching in China in the university. Yeah, that was my first time. I just did not apply, but just a call, I applied, I got it. And my office was located in the communication department at Morehead State as a visiting professor teaching Chinese because we are in the same college. This is the time I know the field of communication.
So you've been in the US for 14 years then? Is that right?
Yes, this is the 14th year.
Sure. And you teach intercultural communication. So when you first came here, you probably experienced some culture shocks like our students do. So what were some of the things from a communication standpoint that stood out to you in terms of differences between China and the United States?
Okay, so because most of my time was spending in a university, in a classroom, on my first visiting professor year. So the biggest difference was how students communicate with professors in a classroom. I just don't feel at that time, I feel they are not respectful to the professors. They challenge, they wear flip-flops even, they wear the hoodies, and they can talk whenever they want without raising hands. They challenge the professors in the classroom. But surprisingly, the professor was so nice, too nice for me. They respond to students, whatever students ask, they try to help them out. But in China, because there's a power, we call it a power distance difference. So in China, there's a longer power distance between whoever has authority and who has less authority. For example, relationship between professors and students. Students are supposed to not challenge the people who has more power over you, especially in the classroom. But here, I feel like not comfortable ever at the very beginning, I said, oh, I need to teach students how to be students. Yeah, that was shocked me.
Yeah, I
First.
can definitely, I can relate to that on a lesser level. I've spent a little bit of time, particularly in East Asia, and with most of China's neighbors, that attitude towards teacher and student relationship is very similar. The student is there to listen to whatever the teacher says, not to interrupt, and it's seen as a sign of disrespect. So I could see that. And I think there's, in that, you know, there's positives in both models, right?
Right. Yes.
Because sometimes you just need to be quiet.
Yeah.
And learn, and other times you need to speak up and challenge authority. So
yeah, but that's right. But at that time, I did not experience the cultural difference personally. That's my first thought. But gradually, I understand there's a background information there. So the people's behavior or students' behavior were governed by the social norms. It's okay because there's a critical thinking, the freedom of a speech is here, but it's not the context in China. Yeah. Go back to my journey. Can I continue?
absolutely.
Yeah, that's my
This is your
first
show.
That's my first year. And the program was ended in 2009. But at that time, I just felt love in communication field because I talk with different professors in communication. They are teaching outcomes, small group they teach rhetoric. And I audit speech class, I audit rhetorical criticism classes. I feel, oh my goodness, this is what I really need. Because I major in English. I got my bachelor in English and I got my master in linguistics. So that's why I can teach in universities in China. But when I sit in the communication classes, I feel, oh, this is broader than linguistics only, because I learned Chomsky, Noam Chomsky, American linguists. And I kind of get connection between linguistics and the communication. But communication is broader, it's more meaningful and interesting to understand the message and to understand the humans' beliefs, behaviors, and the knowledge in general, and especially cultural differences. So that's why, okay, I said, oh, I do need to get a degree in communication. Because in China, if I want to teach in a university, I do need a PhD degree. At that time, I did not have. That's the time I plan to get the PhD degree in a language-related field. And I find communication. So in 2009, when the exchange program ended, I applied a master degree in communication. That's my second master. And I applied when I was in Kentucky. And I was admitted and got a scholarship at the same time. So that's I start my journey as a graduate student. Start from there in Morehead State as a master student. And then 2 years later, I was recommended by my mentors and professors at Morehead State to Bowling Green State, to the School of Media and Communication, got my PhD degree. So years in Bowling Green, Ohio for my doctoral degree. And
what do you like best about teaching communication? You told me what turned you on about studying it. What do you like teaching?
Okay. Teaching part is what I learned. I apply what I learned in the context of a classroom. My favorite part of teaching is how can I interact with my students. So I don't feel I'm an authority. I change myself. I change how I teach in China into the way I teach in America. So I use the other-oriented way or student-centered way of teaching, because this is a part of communication. Communication is a mutual creating of meaning. But how can we make it happen? You have two parallel of two parties, whoever who creating, decoding or encoding messages. So it's easy for me to create a rapport with my students. So my favorite part of the teaching is listen to my students. I usually heard a lot of good thoughts from students, no matter how young they are. So I'm just amazed when they open their mouth, whenever they are comfortable talking about themselves. And especially when they talk about their stories, they are comfortable to share even some very, for me, it's kind of private information, but they're okay. That's one thing, because I open their heart. The second thing is whenever I kind of push them to critically thinking about message, because that's part of communication people's job. Critically think about messages in the media or in any media. They do have their thoughts, and then they have their own argument, and they do have evidence based on their personal experience, because I set a model when I'm teaching. So I do not tell students how I teach, but I kind of show a model how you can talk in any context, even on conversation. This is your argument. What is your example? What is your personal life can tell? How can you support that? So they kind of learn from the way I'm teaching. So that's my favorite part. Just we kind of learn from each other.
So you say you model good behavior, which is what we hope for everyone. When I think about communication, and I'm thinking most of our students will probably have contact with you through the speech course, the COM 110, right? That's where the majority of the students you interact with will get to know you. What are, if you had to say, okay, here's a very short list of takeaways to become a better speaker, including maybe some hints on nonverbals, right? Because we know that nonverbals are so much a part of communication. What would you hope your students, when they finish with COM 110, what are some of those takeaways?
Okay, number one, be confident. So whenever they learn how to make a speech, they change themselves in person. They may change their personality. I got students' feedback. They mentioned that. Oh, Dr. Wang, I jumped out of my shell. I don't know I can talk. Those is the biggest goal I really want you to do. My goal is not only for you to make a good speech. That's a goal, but the bigger goal is be confident whenever you talk. That's one thing. I made it for some students, but not everyone. But I tried. But I think to some degree, students change themselves, at least their attitude of making speech in front of the group of people. That's one thing. They can talk. That's one thing. The second, what I really want my students to learn, to take away from my course is to learn audiences when they talk. Make sure they know who they are talking to. So they have to learn the audiences before they talk. How they design a survey. We learned together how to design survey to learn your audiences, at least, or ask the people who are you going to present to. So learn the audiences and be audience oriented. Make sure what you talk is what the audiences need. Match. I show them how to match what you can talk, what other people's need. That's the second. The third thing is increase their credibility as a speaker. This relates to content, right? So how? You need to have outline first before you talk. This is not strict conversation. This is a kind of planned, structured way of deliver your speech. So I think for most of our students, this is challenging for them to structure their speech. They don't know how to organize information because information overload is everywhere. The too much information from online. This is an online generation. we need to understand too many. They don't know how to pull them. They pull a lot, but they don't know how to organize them together. So I kind of show them how to organize information. That's a one chapter cover it, but still need hand-on experience in the classroom. So I ask them, okay, what is your 3 points, 3 arguments first? Make sure you have that. And what are the evidence support that? It's kind of relating to the writing courses, but they did not know it. That's a requirement as a speech class, because they think about just talk. I can talk, Dr. Wang. My English is better than you. I said, that's not the case. You need to organize your content. That's number 3. And then number 4, I really want my students to learn the beauty of rehearsal. Practice, 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 but the how to practice. I ask them easy. You can practice in front of the mirror. You can practice in front of your family. Or if you only have pets, my student said, oh, I only have pets. You can practice in front of your pets. Just talk. Make sure, because whenever practice, you organize your brain. The information is there. It's make sure you are talking in a conversational way instead of like a robot talking. That's what I literally told my students. And most of my students listened. And you know, one amazing student, how she practiced, she shared her experience to the class. She practiced even when she's driving. Yeah, she talked, I think that's her work communication issues in a workplace speech. She practiced and she meet the timeline. She make each point clearly delivered and ask her to share. That's what she did. There are a lot, but this is the thing I want to share.
Yeah, and our students are, you know, today they do TikTok videos, they do all these different things where they interact and they're speaking. You know, they're speaking in front of an audience. They don't think of it that way, but it's actually a much larger digital audience. And sometimes their creativity and performance is very polished in those. But somehow when it gets over to the academic side,
right,
there's not the thought about the preparation that you have to do. And again, as you pointed out very validly, you have to rethink your audience. What is your approach to that audience, your ethos, so to speak?
Right.
So with all the changes in technology that have already come, and we know there's more coming, what are some things that you see on the horizon for the field of communication in the next 10 to 20 years?
Oh, that's a big question. But for me, I think because technology communication is a subfield of communication. It has been there for many years, but it's called information communication technology. So ICT, I did a book chapter about ICT influence, but now it's focused more on social media. People even forget about ICT. They focus on social media only. And social media is a current hot topic whenever we talk about technology in communication use. And I think because we talk about future, we have to think about the future generation first. And that they use this media, and then so how can we, so I think the future trend is now our focus is how to effectively use social media to produce message for social good. But I think for the future, it could be focused on the digital culture. So we need to establish a norm by using the digital media. So because now the academic content was forced by how younger generation uses social media. It's the opposite. Before we just give the students, younger generation, the knowledge how to use the social media. Now they use the social media first. It's kind of forced us to reshape or reframe the curriculum in the higher education. This is a challenge, but could be a trend. That's what I think. And the second, I think interdisciplinary is highly needed in the future because digital world is for any field. So about how can we connect digital communication with different field? For example, health comm, because I'm doing the health comm, I'm thinking about how the digital use of among our senior population, how they use the digital social media for health management. So it's not only the physician professional world, it could be communication topic, and we can maybe possibly do the collaborative work, and also education too. That's why we are education, media, for example, media literacy, again, how to use digital world, digital media is a topic or is a curriculum in the education department nationally in the United States. But I'm thinking, oh, media literacy should have a home in the communication, right? This is a critical topic and the students need to know, and also maybe seniors or everybody needs to know how to use media wisely and to prevent share some false information and misinformation. Sometimes they don't think, because this is only entertainment part, but they don't know sharing, you're producing message there. So I think that's why media literacy, we are proposing we need to have a media literacy course in a communication department, at least for the master degree, Master of Arts in Communication. So my point is media literacy is highly needed in a communication field and apply in different contexts. That's my current thoughts. Thanks.
So there are many jobs that are associated with communication, and some of them I think students will think of immediately. You can think of them even within the journalism major, so to speak, in our own degree. You know, the obvious things like writing for newspapers, DJing on radio stations or production, work behind the camera, anchor folks, all of those type of positions are kind of the historic broadcast media we think about. What are some jobs that students might not think of that are communication related, that are maybe a little bit different or evolving?
Okay. Oh, actually, there's a lot of job opportunity the job positions could so it could fit to the communication graduates. Just give example, because we have 3 majors right now: digital, public relations, which is about how to create a healthy relationship with stakeholders in any organizations, right? So if that happens, so the market, our students can target on the market on the PR, meaning human resources, if they don't know, or they even can do the marketing part. Maybe they know this already, or they can know, they can think about be very creative, create a social media use for marketing in any organizations. And this could be their strengths in the market. So there's a lot of companies, they do need to promote the products. So the traditional advertisement is there already. Our students can do that. But what if how can we put the social media use for marketing? So the Dr. Mac Adam is teaching that, how to use social media for marketing. So I don't think the previous graduates in communication, this is a trend right now, but there's a potential job position there for all organizations. And then they can create this job for themselves, because even the organizations, they may not think about it right now. But because of pandemic, maybe organizations start thinking about the necessities of doing this right now. For example, our UF, we have our Instagram. So we may need to think about how to use TikTok, because of so many populations are using TikTok, but using TikTok for a good way, in a good way, that's we can maybe tailor our students' ability there and create a new job there in that trend. But at the same time, we still need to focus on the traditional academic abilities, writing skill, but change the traditional writing skill into the digital world, meaning it's not necessarily to be a scholarly writing, but you still need to serve the audience. The key information is still there. What other language are there? That's the thing our students need to learn. Because at this point, you know what I thought, because there's a gap between what we can teach our students and what students have now. There's the gap. So that's why some students don't listen to professors. They don't think that's, you teach me cannot give him a job. So what I am to do? So my point is, we do need to think about, we can train our students to think about some possibility which has never happened before, to create a new job. Thanks.
Let's switch things up just a bit here. Tell me about a role model in your life that helped you professionally and personally, perhaps, and maybe a story that relates to how good of a communicator they were.
Oh, Okay, thank you. I do have a lot role models. Start from parents, right? We learn everything from our parents. My parents, they don't talk a lot. They are traditional Chinese parents. They just do things. They don't talk things to you. What I learn from them is how to do things. So I work very hard because I learn from my parents. That's the way you can survive. Yeah, because I think that applies to all jobs. No matter what you're doing, you do need to have a good attitude first. I learned a good attitude from my parents. I'm still talk with them, and they keep updating what I'm doing. But this is not reporting, just kind of sharing right now. And when I go to the college, college and the graduate schools, I learned my role models, or my mentors, advisors, thesis advisors, and dissertation advisors. They did show me, talk. This time is talk, talk to me and show me how to be a good person and how to do a quality work, how to follow the work ethics, no matter what I'm doing, and how to serve students better. So I do learn my dissertation advisor, and he told me you do need to share your personal experience with your students. So meaning you are with them, and then they can open their heart to listen to you. So this is just one example. Another example is I learned from my first thesis mentor. That's Dr. Xie. She's in China. She advised me of my first thesis, which is about applied linguistics in law context. Oh no, in law context. And she still talk with me about how to do the self-care in the pandemic while I'm still serving good to students. And I told her I will be a director of Master for Arts in Communication. And I asked her advice. And she said, okay, be patient. That's what she told. Be patient. No matter what you're doing, be patient. Number one. Number two, be nice to your students and be strict with them of their outcome. Yeah. And also I learned a lot from my colleagues at the same time. Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, I think you and I share that commonality with our parents. I like that you said that first, because that story you told illustrates how nonverbals are very important. You said
Right.
they didn't talk to you a lot, but they just worked, and you saw that, and that became the model that then you emulated in anything you do. Yeah, I would say the same thing. My parents did not have a lot of sit downs with me, but they worked really hard, and it rubbed off on us that nothing was attainable if you weren't willing to work for it.
Right.
So great.
Thank you. I just really appreciate my parents.
Yeah. Oh, me too. Every
Yeah.
day. Every day. I mean, that is the difference. If you think about so many things in this world, it's the family you're born into. You know, there's a lot of discussion today of social and economic privilege, but I think the greatest privilege in life is having people that care about you and put you first.
Yeah, exactly.
So for our students, what's a mistake you made as you were coming up as a student? And maybe not a big mistake, but maybe some mistakes that you learned from. And perhaps you have one that was maybe even cathartic or changed your life in some way.
You mean a mistake as a student?
Yeah, mistake as a student or just early, part of being an undergraduate is the experience. It's not just about book learning. It's about learning about yourself and developing into an adult. And I know I made a lot of mistakes as an undergrad. What were maybe some things that you did that looking back were good because they taught you something?
Okay. Thank you. I have many years of students back in China and the US. So I want to talk about my life, a student's life in the US, because it's more applicable to our students. So the big mistake I made was I don't know the office hours. so the office hours there, I have questions. I don't know. That's the time to ask the professor for help. I just stuck there. I did not submit my assignment on time. And I was stressful, and I was walking on the street, and I saw my professor. I just hide my eyes. I just pretend I did not see him. And he said, "Hi, Fang, I'm Dr. Albert." So I did not see your assignment. I said, I don't know how to respond to him. I told, oh, I don't know how to start that writing. And he just encouraged me to visit him during office hours. I still did not get it. For me, office hours is a time for for students who have trouble. So that's my interpretations of office hours. I learned a big lesson because I did not submit assignment until I think 2 weeks or even 3 weeks later. That scared me now. I was not that type of a person, but I just did not know what to do. And I don't want to. I did not want to ask other person because kind of a losing face moment. And also I think that's kind of attached to the first mistake. The second one, I did not ask help from peers. Actually, peers are there for helping each other. That's why I kind of encourage my students to learn from peers if times occurs. So because I show them my mistake before, don't fight alone. If you do have a trouble in learning, you do need some people go hand in hand with you, and you can help each other out. Yeah, that's the thing that came to my mind so far.
Those are good lessons, I think, for our students too, because I think, folks, that's not uncommon. And it's not always about pride. You just think, well, if I don't know the answer, I probably shouldn't ask. Or, you know, like you said about office hours, maybe those are for people who are really struggling. But that's the thing, right? Is those things are set up intentionally to help us. Right. And it takes that leap of faith to get over our own insecurities and reach out. Good advice about peers too, I think.
Right.
Tell me a bit about your hobbies and interests. I know you are very busy. You're a professional woman. You are managing things with your son here on your own because your husband is back working in China and your family's back there as well. So you're a very busy person. When you have those few moments where you can do something for Fang, what do you do?
Oh, I have a lot to do. So it depends the moment. So my daily hobby is workout. No matter what, I do some kind of workout in YMCA. I just appreciate it. Findlay has YMCA. So whenever they have an open space, I just go there for workshop and do something. And the second thing, I learned how to do the Chinese national art, painting art. So just ink and paper and ink with different colors. And when I'm painting, it just feels such focused, and I kind of do kind of a similar effectiveness of doing yoga. I can focus on that. That's only my world. This is my creation. Nobody can bother me. So I just feed Gavin for dinner. I just need 30 minutes or 40 minutes, just draw my stuff. And it's a creative part. I don't have anything. I just think about when I'm drawing, I'm thinking, what is next step? What is next step? So painting is my next hobby. I just found I do have this kind of talent, if that's a talent, during the pandemic. Yeah. And also in this recent 2 years, I start to, no, recent 1 year, I start learn how to dance jazz in Chinese style, Chinese style jazz. Yeah, I do have I'm a fan right now to a dance teacher, just online teacher. Again, this is a digital culture. So it's called a bling bling bling. It's kind of a social media in China. So the people can post, or professional people even, they post their short video for dancing. You just follow them. And I don't have to pay anything. I just need my time there. So each day I just need 30 minutes It's kind of part of my workout. Finish a workout, I learn some dance of jazz. And I even dance with my students in class during the winter semester, because winter is kind of, I don't know if winter is cold. People don't, students, it's kind of it's very kind of challenging for them to sit in the classroom after a long walk from the dorm to the classroom. I usually give them like 2 minutes of warming up. How? They don't want to talk. How about that? Stand up, stretch out, do some dance with me, line dance, Chinese way. Yeah, that helped a lot. I think this is a personal note. So if we do have some hobbies, if applicable, appropriate, we can apply that and use it in the classroom. So by doing that, students will feel we are a human being too. We are not only a bookworm or a nerd professor or very strict, rigid looking professors. We have fun too. So it's kind of reduce the distance with students. So my point is I try to dig out some new hobbies right now. I'm practicing piano with my son because he's learning piano, and I ask his piano teacher's permission. I can sit with him when he's taking the lesson, so I can listen too. I did not practice when he's taking the lesson, but I know the theoretical stuff. When I come back home with Gavin, my son, I learn with him playing piano. Sometimes he teaches me how to play a piece of music. We did that last night. It's such a fun. So as I kind of my interaction with my son inspires me, my interaction with students. So they are younger generations. My students, they have their own way to talk with their mom too. Sometimes they don't want to talk with their mom. I need to listen a lesson from Gavin. So what is the moment the students just stop talking with their parents? So I kind of learned that, kind of speak on behalf of their moms, kind of show them how to understand their moms. So it's kind of other oriented, be empathetic. That's I'm teaching students, be empathetic. But how? There's some example. I do not teach them how. I just told them a story. This has happened to me and my son Gavin. I think sometimes they got my point. No matter what, this is a relationship between parents and son. I'm sorry, I'm off the track. I'm talking my hobby and then talking about how I interact with my son. Yes, to sum up, dancing, dancing, drawing, playing piano.
I'm walking down a hall, one of our buildings on campus, and I turn a corner and there's some students talking about you.
Really?
What are they saying? What nice things are they saying about you?
Yeah, are you asking me to guess? Nice person.
You're a nice person. What does this nice person look like? What kind of character traits does she have?
Enthusiastic, passionate in teaching. That's what, yeah.
Okay.
Different. Yeah.
If I keep going down that hall, I bump into another group of students and they're not saying such nice things about you. What are they saying?
They will say his English is different. It's hard to understand.
Different is negative and positive, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to follow her. I believe that could be true because thinking pattern is different. I mean, because of language, my first language is Chinese, Mandarin. If language is different, thinking pattern is different. So that's why it's kind of a challenge. If students talk about it, I won't be surprised.
Okay. I'm a prospective student. I'm here on campus with my parents, and you have 30 seconds to sell me on the communication program.
Okay. So, okay, when you be in a communication program, you find what kind of person you are. You know what you can do. You're going to improve your interpersonal communication skills. You will be an effective listener. You know how to manage your emotions, and you know how to develop a healthy relationships in all contexts. For example, friends, family, in a workplace. It's easy for you to make good friends, even long life friends. And also it's easier for you to be, it can secure you in a job market for a job.
Okay, that's in
Yep.
30 seconds there. Good.
Yeah.
Good. Let's just take this a different route. What would you say to a student that is thinking about a career in communication, but they're unsure?
Okay.
So it's a little bit different. Somebody is coming and knows they want to be a communication major, but somebody that maybe doesn't really consider it. Why would I change majors? Let's say I'm going to be a pharmacy major. Why would I change directions and become a comm major? What's different? What's unique?
So unique between the people who made a decision or who?
Yeah, the ones that were coming
Undecided.
here, and all you had to do is tell them, hey, we got a radio station and we do all this cool stuff with digital media and you're going to have all these great contacts. But what about that person that's like, I'm not really into that? How do you pull them in?
Oh, okay. So to pull them in, and first of all, we need students to know what communication is, what we are doing for sure. Otherwise, how can they make a decision? They don't know, they don't do anything about it. But how to let them know? So we do have a lot of general education courses out there. So we can talk about their experience when they're taking their courses and what they get from their courses. And then we can start from there. And also we just here if I'm a person to recruit the new students, if they are undecided major person, so I will ask them a personal stories. What are their strengths as a person? So are they good at writing, or are they good at playing social media, or are they good at playing video games even? Because video game is a topic in communication, because it's a culture, video game culture. But how you present different characters in video games, because we do have a lot of students who are playing video games. They don't know that could be a field for the future job. And maybe they are good at talk to different person. Some people, they do have this talent. They can feel the person's needs. So we hear that. So my point is, we listen to them, invite them to talk about their stories, and then connect what they have with what communication offers. And if they match, this is a good start.
I like that. That's a unique answer. I haven't heard that one before.
Oh, okay. That's what I'm doing now in my class.
That's good.
Because I'm teaching, it's a general education courses, interpersonal, intercultural communication. I invite each students to tell about their personal story, just 3 minutes. I give that extra credit. So it's kind of external motivation. Talk about their stories about relationships. It could be friends, it could be family, it could be siblings, could be roommate, but they have to ask a permission of that other person to talk. And then they send me the pictures ahead. I want to make sure pictures are good before they present. And then they have 3 minutes talk in class, each class section. So by doing this, I got some majors last semester, because they said, oh, I really did not know this is a communication is, or I really did not know I can do this. So literally one student who is the organizational communication major, and she said, oh, I'm really a human person being. I do want to talk to person. I think communication fits me. I think, yeah, I think this little bit of class activity helps students to learn what communication is from the general education courses. Yeah.
What are your hopes for the department in 5, 10, 15 years? What do you want?
what I want more majors in our department, because I want the department grow. So we can develop our we can develop the department in different ways. So we need to know what the current generation needs in a communication, because communication have variety of subfield. So we can, because especially after pandemic, people's beliefs and attitude changed into how we talk. So we need to maybe, I don't know, keep what we are, but develop new areas for the new kind of maybe a new majors for communication. No, just a thought. And but for when students come over to visit us, we need to show diverse possibilities of being a communication major. It's the journalism is only one, and the public relations is another possibility. Well, if the students sometimes think about journalism because they are not good at traditional newspaper writing, but they still can do communication stuff in other ways, like to organize an event, for example. Some people like organization. I love organizing event. The event planning could be a topic in organization communication. Or some people really love being a leadership, but how to manage a leadership in a small group team. There's a small group communication. You may got something from there. And I don't know you're in 5, 10, or 15 years, but my point is I want, if my personally, I want we all grow and for undergraduates, we may have more majors, and graduates, we want to have more graduates, both in person class and online classes. Maybe we have more international students come over, because international students' first-hand experience will enrich our domestic students' understanding of communication, increase their cultural awareness and the cultural competence, because someday they are going to jump out of the box to somewhere in the world. If that happens, this is the time for them to learn. Yeah.
Thank you, Fang.
Yeah.
I think we'll wrap things up, folks, here. If you have more questions for Dr. Wang, I encourage you to reach out to her. The easiest way to do that is to email her at Fang, F-A-N-G Wang, W-A-N-G @Findlay.edu. And if you like what you've seen here today, I encourage you to check out our station, fmn.findlay.edu. That's for UFTV. And of course, you can just go to our YouTube channel. Easiest way to do that is just go to YouTube and type in UFTV. Thanks for joining us on Ask the Professor. Bye.